the thing about schedule is, we're messing it around as people are like, oh, can you play this game instead? Or people are like, oh, my game can't be in the bundle for whatever reason. Or people are like, oh, I can't do this. So we're constantly like fiddling and tweaking, and like there's gonna be a lot of me and you turning up, and Duncan will be like massively hungover and be like, oh, I can't do this. Or
that's the jingle jam, though.
Osie will be like, oh, I only went to bed an hour ago, or I forgot, or whatever. Do you know what I mean?
We did something the other week, and Osie showed up, and she was just fucking trash.
She was so knackered.
She stunk of alcohol. She hadn't done her makeup or her hair yet, and she clearly just got out of bed. And I was just like, you look like shit. But she cleaned up good.
She's fine. She's a trooper.
She cleans up good, and you couldn't tell that the alcohol was coming from her.
Osie so much. She's, I think, my favourite person in the Yogs this year. She's just been down for everything.
Yeah, she is down to clown.
And also, just always there with, like, the funny, light-hearted quips. But also just, like, challenging Ravs and Duncan for these late nights. Like, every time, I'm, like, speaking to Ravs in the morning, I'm like, oh, how late were you up last night? And he was like, oh... he's like, we went to bed at 4 or something like that. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's some, or like we got a lock-in, or they went to some, like, they go to weird places, right? Because everywhere closes at reasonable hours, but they just want to carry on. And so they end up at like some Turkish shisha place or something, you know what I mean? Or like some weird place that you'd never have heard of, and they're like, oh, we could get these drinks, this hotel bar we found, in the basement, or this wine cellar was open,
that's it.
And it's like, a friend of mine, these guys we met, football guys, told us that there was this
football guy.
Like, do you know what I mean? Like, they just find places to go somehow.
I don't know how accurate that is.
And I think what happens is one of them, like, is like, all right, and then they're like, all right, and they just stay up.
You're describing Amsterdam like
as shouting them out,
just wandering around.
I can't believe they managed to just find these places to hang out and drink it in the absolute middle of the night. What I consider way past my bedtime. And so I'm sure it's not really allowed. A lot of these places are not allowed to stay open.
Not allowed to serve. I think there's like rules against serving after a certain time.
But I also think there's like this unspoken idea of the lock-in, right? Where if you know the people running the pub, they can lock the door and then you're closed. But you're just socially drinking in the room at 3 or whatever.
And then you get a 3 a.m. kebab.
I don't know if they do that, actually.
No. I think they've been to one, because none of them are good. Any place that's open at like 4 a.m. is not.
The funniest shit, though, is when Ravs orders pasta on Deliveroo to the pub. That is a sentence that you have probably not heard until this point, but ordering pasta
it's better than Snappies
to the pub is an experience, because it's horrible, right? He's like, do you want one? I'm like, I don't want to pay £11 for like a tub of something that I could literally make for 10p at home. That is probably like worse than me making it at home as well. I don't think pasta even like travels very well for delivery. I did it once, and Duncan was like, "Don't do that," and I was like, "Well, I want to see what it's." Ravs is obviously.
Did you see what I
got? Great taste. Oh, I'm glad we got to the boss just in time. Oh, we weren't planning on it.
Caretaker
Mundus the Fetid. That's me after Jingle Jam.
Oh, God.
Oh, no, it's probably O's, actually.
It's O's currently.
With scabies or whatever. God, I can't believe she said she had scabies instead of shingles. That's probably my favourite thing that happened this year. Osie just casually saying she had some awful disease she didn't have. That sounds like the worst.